I'm here live with UGA recruiting reporter Jeremy Johnson of Dogs HQ on the 5-Star Flex. Welcome to the 5-Star Flex, where being a 5-star isn't just a ranking, it's a mentality. I'm your host, Phillip Dukes, aka Dukes D Scoop. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Dukes D Scoop, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Jeremy Johnson, my boy, the Georgia guy with the juice. What's up, Jeremy?
What's going on, man?
Man, not much, man. So I got you on today because I wanted to talk some Georgia recruiting, but I also wanted to kind of shine some light on the good work that you've been doing down in that area. So if you could just tell us about yourself, a little bit of background, and for those who don't know, you kind of introduce yourself.
I played football in high school. I've been around the sport my whole life. So, it's been a passion, something I love to do. Like when people say, what do you do when you're not working? I'm like, watch football. So I just love the game of football. So, when somebody said, hey, you're not playing anymore, you could be around football and they would pay you. And I was like, oh, that's a thing. Like people get paid to write about football and basketball. And I was like, okay, well, I want to do this. Then I got a job at the Athens Banner Herald covering Georgia recruiting. And a couple months in, I get a call from Shannon Terry. Hey, I want to connect with you, blah, blah, blah. We went from there. And I'd never heard of On3. I honestly had not heard a lot about Shannon Terry. But he gave me an opportunity, and I'm, really grateful that he has, because it's been a great journey here at On3, and I'm enjoying myself a lot. Been over at Dogs HQ for about, I guess it's been about 6 months now. I'm right here in Athens, so it's been a good experience for sure.
No, for sure, man. And man, shout out to Shannon Terry, man, a man of the people, man. Everybody loves Shannon, man. Great guy. Man, what's going on down in Georgia? So if you could give our viewers, who do you think could be the next person to commit to the University of Georgia?
Oh man, there are so many guys that I feel good about right now. I feel like Georgia's in a lot of these recruitments that we talk about on a regular basis. You think about guys like Travis Smith Jr. You think about Juan Gaston, his teammate at Westlake. I know Steve Wiltfong put in a prediction for Juan yesterday. Guys like Thomas Blackshear over at Calvary Day is another guy that people need to know. That's a really talented football player. There's a couple guys. Any of these offensive linemen, they got to be getting close because official visits are right around the corner in June. Late May is when they start to get on campus. So, I think you'll see a few guys pop right there in that late May, early June area when they come back off those official visits.
What's your take on the current standing of UGA with 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis?
I think ever since they added the commitment of Ryan Montgomery, I kind of feel like, that ship may have sailed a little bit, just because, I know they want to take one, and I know, Julian wants to, play early. Obviously I don't think he's afraid to compete with anybody. I think that narrative is something that we need to just stop doing. I don't think he's afraid of competition. That's not what's happening. I think that I think he'll start to lean towards some of his other options though. And he canceled his official visit with Georgia. So that kind of is that. At least for now. You just never know what's going to happen once the football season starts. And you never want to close the door, especially on a guy that talented. So as of right now, I don't really see a whole lot of the Jews going there right now.
There are two defensive linemen in the state of Georgia, one the edge rusher, one the defensive lineman, Justice Terry and Isaiah Gibson, who are currently committed to Southern California. What do you think Georgia stands with them in their recruitment, and how important are they to get in this class? And if they aren't a part of the class, where do you see the Bulldogs going?
Yeah, both of those guys will be priorities moving forward. They have been and will continue to be. I feel like Justice is a guy that they, covered a lot. He's one of the most talented defensive linemen in the class, period. Edge, inside, outside, he can do a little bit of everything too. So I think he'll be a guy that they will continue to pursue heavily. He'll take an official visit here in a couple of weeks, and that's going to be a big visit for Georgia because they got him on campus for G-Day. That was a big stepping stone to kind of, hey, you went and flipped, but hey, we still love you. That was the kind of the message there, and it's a long process with him. Same thing with Isaiah Gibson. He hasn't been back to campus since he committed, but he's going to take an official visit to Georgia. So, Georgia's going to have the opportunity to swing. And, if neither of those guys land in Athens, you got to look at guys like Elijah Griffin, 5-star out of Savannah. You're going to have a couple guys at edge that Georgia just got. Darren Kennebong a couple weeks ago as an edge guy. I think they'll probably want to take a couple more just because of what they do defensively. But, both of those guys will be big focuses moving forward, regardless of their commitment status.
Okay, so Georgia had a really large class last year along the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
This year, who do you think Georgia has a really good shot at landing on the offensive line, and how many offensive linemen do you think they'll take?
I started looking at guys like Juan Gaston. I mean, that's one. I think they'll probably, David Sanders is a guy that I feel like may be trending somewhere else at this point. I mean, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Clemson seem to be kind of the teams that we hear most about with that recruitment right now. Michael Fasusi is a guy they've been turning up the heat on. Michael Carroll is another guy that's a new name that's kind of emerged a little bit over the last couple of weeks. I don't know. I think they'll take 3, maybe 4 guys. I mean, you can never have enough big talented athletes because you just never know about how they're going to fit at the college level, how long it's going to take them to adjust, weight. Obviously, they've already got Mason Short committed, so that'll be. I mean, they're going to take a couple guys. Cortez Smith is another guy from the Gwinnett County area that at Parkview that they've been on for a long time. So that's at least 4 or 5 guys they'll be looking at for sure.
All right, so Georgia added a couple of coaches in the spring, Josh Crawford and James Coley. Talk about what those guys have added to the Georgia staff in terms of recruiting, and how do you see them kind of impacting recruiting going forward?
Yeah, I mean, they both have had a positive impact immediately. James Cooley came in with those connections in South Florida, and you immediately saw the board start to expand to some of these, Southern South Florida guys, and a lot of coaches in that area really respect him. And when you start to get to these guys got on campus in the spring to watch him coach, they really enjoyed his coaching style. I mean, that was one thing that really kept coming up with a lot of these receivers is that they really enjoyed how intense he was, the drills that he had, and some of the developmental things that take place during practice. And then talking to him, he really seems to connect with them a little, really well. That's been a big plus for James Cooley at Georgia so far. Coach Crawford, he has those South Georgia ties. So the guys down in South Georgia, Usmani Kroma, Todd Robinson, both of those guys in particular have really, really connected with Coach Crawford. And it's because of his mentality. He's been around that South Georgia type of, football, that style of ball down there. It's a little different than it is anywhere else I've been. Anywhere else I've experienced football, South Georgia is a little different. And the main thing that kept coming up is that they felt like, there's a connection because he knows their limits and what they can and cannot take as far as coaching. And then he's a very intense coach. And I think that has been a big positive, in getting Georgia into those recruitments. I mean, Ty Robinson is a guy that Crawford offered. And, Georgia's in that recruitment. Osmani Kroma. I mean, I feel like Georgia was kind of, trending away from having him, as being a contender. And now they're right in the thick of that race with Florida State and a couple other schools, Auburn and Miami. So, I think that's been his impact, is just being able to connect with those 2 guys in particular.
Okay. All right, before we get out of here, so last year Georgia had a crazy recruiting class in 24. They had a lot of early enrollees. Which early enrollees from last year's class impressed you this spring or had a lot of buzz this spring?
Oh, man. KJ Bolden was the one that jumped off the screen in the spring game for sure. First, his size. He's added a lot of size. I mean, that was the first. Just walking out for pregame, the first thing you notice is how much bigger he's gotten. Ellis Robinson is Ellis Robinson. He's a real good player. He's going to make an impact at some point, and it's going to happen this year if he stays healthy. So I think those 2 are the ones I immediately point to. Chris Cole is another one that I think because his rankings kind of went up toward the end of the cycle, I don't think people really got to fully understand the talent level and the ability that Chris Cole has. Obviously, Justin Williams got a lot of the headlines because he was the 5-star, and he's also really talented. But Chris Cole was a guy that just kind of popped off the screen during the spring game in particular. He made a couple of really good plays in that game. And he may not have a lot of big role this year. You obviously got Smile London, you got C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson. He's got a lot of guys in front of him that could, contribute and help Georgia this year. But down the road, Chris Cole's a name that I want to circle personally, just because I think he has an opportunity to be really special at the inside linebacker position.
Man, Jeremy, thank you so much. Amazing stuff. Where can everybody find your work, and where can they find you on social media?
Oh, you just go to Dogs HQ, click the little football recruiting tab. I'm there all day writing. So Twitter is Jeremy_Johnson_O.
Man, for sure, man. Thank you, man. 5 Star Flex, we out.